Kate.
Yeah, Craig.
Do you know that Lagos is one of the 36 mega cities in the world? And like the rest of them, certain monuments mark out our beloved state.
Yeah.
To you, if I may ask, which are the most prominent?
Come on, Craig. That's a very cheap question to ask.
Really?
Yeah. For me, the National Theatre, Broad Street, Tafawa Balewa Square, and the statue of the three white-capped chiefs.
Okay. But what about the bus rapid transit buses?
The BRT system is an exemplar for cities like Lagos wishing to implement an effective and efficient bus system. And you know, it's impossible for you to think of Lagos without seeing the blue mass transit buses.
And that's why I will even argue that the BRT is one of Lagos' most important monuments. You know why?
Why?
I'll tell you. It delivers the all-important service of moving you from where you are to where you need to be in comfort, good time, safety, and at affordable fare.
And that's another milestone achieved by LAMATA under the Governor Babatunde Raji-Fashola's administration in the last 8 years. Last week, we reviewed accomplishments in the construction of the Blue Line Rail project from Okokomaiko to Marina. And today, we'll beam our spotlight on the Bus Rapid Transit BRT, easily one of the important advancements in Lagos State. I am Kate Harmony.
And I'm Obafemi Craig. First, we'll take the news update. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the news highlight on LAMATA FR. Operations of the Bus Rapid Transit BRT system on the Mile 12 to Ikorodu may start in the third quarter of 2015. Director of Public Transport, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority LAMATA, Engineer Gbenga Dairo, informed that about 400 high-capacity buses will be deployed into the operation of bus services along the corridor. Speaking at an enlarged stakeholder meeting to inform stakeholders on the completion of the Mile 12 to Ikorodu Town Road widening, Engineer Dairo thanked them for keeping faith with the authority in the implementation of the project. He particularly commended their support, suggestions and cooperation at critical times during the implementation of the 13.5-kilometer road widening and BRT extension, and assured that with the completion of the project, commuters will now enjoy a pleasurable ride. Engineer Dairo, however, advised the people must use the road properly in order to guarantee its longevity. Also speaking, the Deputy Director of Transport Safety, LAMATA, Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, underscored the need to always keep the road and walkways clear of encumbrances, refrain from selling on walkways or engage in hawking and selling around the BRT shelters and terminal. In a speech, representative of the Lagos State Governor, Otumba Fatai Olukoga, who is Special Advisor on Education, commended LAMATA for a job well done and urged the people to own the road project and ensure that no harm comes to it. The Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority LAMATA has fulfilled its promise to relocate the Anyogbunre market near Ikorodu roundabout to a better environment. At a ceremony, allottees of market stalls at the new market at Oluwo Dika were handed their letters of stall allocation. The letters were presented to some of the allottees by Otumba Fatai Olukoga, Special Advisor on Education to Governor Babatunde Raji-Fashola, SAN. The allottees commended LAMATA for living up to its promise to the market men and women. One of the allottees, Alfa Adebayo, a meat seller, said LAMATA stood out as an agency of government which made and fulfilled promises. He assured on behalf of other allottees to protect the huge resources made by LAMATA in providing the new market infrastructure for their conveniences. And that ends the news highlight.
Basically, what LAMATA does is to coordinate public transportation in Lagos State, and we came up with a transport master plan.
Developed together with the World Bank, the objective of this plan is finding long-lasting solutions for the problem of transportation in Lagos. Currently under its first steps of development, the plan has already proven itself a big success, dramatically increasing the connectivity in a city in continuous expansion and enjoying an unparalleled demographic and economic growth.
Our responsibility is to ensure that we provide the necessary infrastructure to meet the growth. to improve the quality of life, to improve the standard of living, and to make Lagos a vibrant and livable city in years to come.
LAMATA, keeping Lagos moving.
BRF is more than the initials for Babatunde Raji Fashola, a senior advocate of Nigeria SAN. It's become synonymous with service to the people, service which Governor Fashola is highly known and celebrated for. And without doubt, one of Governor Fashola's greatest successes in Lagos is upgrading the city's transport.
Think about how the Bus Rapid Transit BRT has changed our lives. Travel is more comfortable and in less time. Traffic congestion is reduced because the BRT buses travel on dedicated lanes and the price of travel is much lower.
Think of what is done to the Lagos economy. Thousands have been employed as drivers, ticket agents, bus shelter managers, and over 3,000 people have been employed indirectly under the scheme.
And how did Lagos get to this point under the BRF administration? Again, we join Engineer Gbenga Dairo, Director of Public Transport LAMATA, as he shares the history, successes, and the glorious future in Lagos State's greatest phenomenon, the BRT.
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.
It's good to have you on the program. We are here with the Director of Public Transport, LAMATA, Engineer Gbenga Dairo, to discuss the BRT system. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Lagos is reputed to have commenced the first BRT, Bus Rapid Transit BRT system in sub-Saharan Africa in 2006. And what was the motive for building the system?
Well, there are several motivating factors. The first, of course, is the need to address the traffic delay, congestion issues we're facing in Lagos, and to begin to promote public transportation as a credible alternative to the private car.
Okay.
The BRT project, which we launched in 2008, also served as a demonstration of the possibilities of mass transit public transportation, so that people may begin to warm up to the idea of such systems as credible alternatives to wanting to aspire to own a car and drive a car in the city of Lagos. Begin to think along the lines of there's no need for me to use a car if there's a quality, high quality, suitable, effective and efficient and accessible public transport system like a BRT.
Yeah, the BRT has indeed opened up Lagos to the world. And I recall Dr. Jim Yong Kim, the president of World Bank, spoke glowingly about this system. But then, in spite of its imperfections, what are the staying power of the system?
Well, what makes BRT an important system first and foremost is the fact that it's a cost-effective public transport system. Any system that can move up to 200,000 passengers per day at the cost at which we implemented it, being a bus system, I think is one worth looking into. That's a huge staying power. The fact that it's also an effective system, one, as I said in my discussion with you earlier, that it offers very, very great time advantages to those who use it, makes it a very, very effective system too. And compared to other public transport systems in Lagos, the fare for using the BRT is comparable, and in certain instances even cheaper, and that makes it extremely attractive as well.
Another impressive transport project is the bus franchise scheme along the Ali-Mosho axis. Could you comment on that bus project?
Yes, I think it's impressive, but it's a bit different to the BRT scheme we've been discussing, in that it doesn't have a dedicated bus lane. But what we have tried to do there is to introduce some formality and regulation into the provision of bus service along that corridor.
Okay.
So a particular operator is franchised or has a franchise from us to operate the scheme, and he has to deliver public transport services to a particular specification and level of quality, which we have handed over to the operator. They're using very nicer buses, better pilots driving their vehicle, and of course the fare they charge is also regulated. And I think it's an interesting insight into the way public transport in Lagos will be going, bus public transport especially. So over the coming years, we expect to see a lot more of that type of bus franchise scheme across our city.
Why the extension to Ikorodu?
Well, I mean, if you look at our transport master plan, it always said that we should have a BRT scheme between Ikorodu and Lagos.
Okay.
But of course, we started off with the project between Mile 12 and CMS. We were able to approach funders, multilateral agencies like the World Bank and the French Development Agency, and they provided funds for us to carry out this extension. Ikorodu itself is a growing town. It was a suburb, a satellite town to Lagos, but now what we are finding is that quite a number of the population of Lagos is relocating to Ikorodu. The vast majority of people living in Ikorodu would benefit substantially from the extension of the BRT scheme to that town. Again, they would benefit also, but Ikorodu is a commuter belt city or town, and therefore it was essential that we connect that place to the rest of Lagos by a proper transport system.
So what's the difference between the extension and the existing BRT from Mile 12 to Marina?
Well, the significant difference you will see or you will find is that the BRT scheme is situated in the middle of the carriageway. Okay. Unlike the scheme between Mile 12 and CMS, where we have placed it on the outside lanes of the main carriageway. And you will find that to access the bus stops and stations in the extension area, you will have to use footbridges that we are constructing mostly. We will find that interaction with other traffic in that section between Mile 12 and Ikorodu will be a lot less in comparison to the current BRT light scheme. A number of terminals are being constructed. We're implementing intelligent transport systems there as well.
Exactly.
So there are a number of factors which distinguish and differentiate that BRT scheme from the current one.
A lot of users of that corridor, they keep complaining that the bends are too much. They don't understand the technicalities. They feel it's very, very technical using that road. So can you throw more light? Why do you have a road like that?
Well, I think you're right to highlight the issue of safety, and it's one that we also have recognized. And we will need to do a lot more in the coming weeks and months to try and reduce the safety and accident risks on that corridor. But the primary challenge that we face in our city is that a lot of the road users themselves are not trained, they're not aware of usual traffic signs and the dictates and what they're saying to them. A lot of people also drive vehicles themselves that are not roadworthy. So on the infrastructure side, we've done all the things we feel we can do to try and make the road as safe as possible. But safety, especially when you're on a road, depends also on driver behavior, quality of vehicles that people drive, sometimes weather conditions and so on, and the way in which someone who's riding a particular road should adapt himself to the challenges that the road itself presents. But because people they haven't gone through proper training and so on, sometimes they face these sort of challenges. But on our side, as a public authority, we recognize that and we need to take some extra steps, I think, to try and reduce the risks that the public will face, given the complexity of this particular scheme, and we're working on it.
And do we have enough road signs?
We will have enough, but again, what we tend to find sometimes, especially along Owode Oniri, which is a market area, industrial area for ironmongers and so on, they tend to take our signs without authorization and use them for other purposes. And in our society, we need to move away from doing things like that. Because whilst it may be advantageous to those who are doing so, it creates huge problems to other road users. And the accidents you refer to are because some of the signs that are erected are being stolen and being taken away. Cables that are laid for lighting are equally also being vandalized and stolen by nefarious ones in certain places. But over the coming weeks and months, we intend to launch campaigns, starting with what we're discussing here, to enlighten people of the dangers and the challenges of some of the actions that they're taking, so that they may stop it, recognizing the fact that it affects a lot more people.
It's been an extensive discussion with you.
Thank you.
What thoughts would you leave us with?
Well, my final parting thought is for people to be patient with government as a whole, with LAMATA as an institution. We have a transport master plan, which will take some time to implement, but we're doing our best to raise the funds and resources required to implement them.
Thank you so much for being a part of the program today.
My pleasure.
That's it on the BRT update. We'll be right back after the break.
Even now, in the twilight of Governor Babatunde Fashola's tenure as Governor of Lagos, we are recording more success with the Bus Rapid Transit BRT services.
Through the Lagos State Government, LAMATA commenced the expansion of the Mile 12 to Ikorodu Road and extended the BRT from Mile 12 to Ikorodu. And the project finally is complete. You, the workers and residents, bore the necessary pains of rehabilitation and expansion work with patience and fortitude. And now, the completion of the road calls for a huge celebration. But first, let's meet with you at the Stakeholders Forum to thank you for your cooperation and inform you on the need to own the road and jealously protect it.
And you're invited as we go
On the move.
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.
Today, we'll deliver to you the Mile 12 to Ikorodu Bus Rapid Transit BRT Extension Project. Here is welcoming you to the Mile 12 to Ikorodu Stakeholders Forum organized by LAMATA. Today, we are here to educate you about the road, the things you must know about the road, the do's and the don'ts. Please join us as we discuss with our stakeholders. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure on behalf of Dr. Mobiriola to welcome every one of us to this stakeholder event. This stakeholder event is one of several that is being held by LAMATA. Before now, we have held about 4 or 5 events, and this is a culminating event, the purpose for which is to enlighten every one of us on how it is we should use the infrastructure, the BRT infrastructure that is now in place.
I'm going to tell you that there are laws on the walkways. Do not park any vehicle on the walkway. Don't sell on the walkway. Do not hawk your goods on the walkway. Do not display any goods on the walkway. All these activities can cause other drivers and people to be diverted on their attention from the road. And it causes danger and is dangerous to other drivers and also pedestrians. Also, we should not entertain any cutting of the road of any kind. There are docks made along the corridor within the roads that even telecoms and statutory undertakers can use. Nobody has any right whatsoever to cut the road. Okadas, motorcyclists, especially commercial ones, even though we notice that right now they are violating the Lagos state law. Ikorodu Road is one of those roads that you're not supposed to apply, but right now they're doing it. But we're telling you that that is illegal, and more so, don't even bother, don't even think of going into the BRT lane. Just because the BRT service has not started now does not give you any right to go there. So let us talk to them and tell them enough is enough, they need to stop right now. The bus shelters and the terminals is not for sleeping areas. We don't want anyone going there to go and perch and having their siestas at the bus shelters. Please, the bus stop is for loading and unloading of passengers. It's not a motel. Do not load and unload goods on the road, whereby you obstruct traffic. And it's even worse during the peak hour period. Early morning peak period towards Lagos and afternoon and evening peak towards Ikorodu town. Totally unacceptable. It is selfish and it's just not right. Hawking, selling on the road just because there's traffic. You see people walking around the traffic and whatever. This constitutes traffic and delay to other motorists. Don't do it. It is not allowed. It is totally unacceptable as well. Motorists should obey all traffic signs on the road. When you say yellow box junction, don't go in there and go and sit inside the yellow box junction. There's a purpose for it. Don't do illegal U-turns. Don't go against one way. Don't violate any traffic sign that is on the road. The reason why the traffic signs are there on the road is to talk to you and I. It is, the signs are not there for show. The signs are there for you to obey it. Allow pedestrians to cross at all times safely. Do not rev your engine and scare pedestrians off where they're supposed to cross. Let us be our brother's keepers. Don't repair vehicles on the highway, on the carriageway. The oil spill from the vehicles can cause extreme damage to the asphalt, and it reduces the lifespan of the road. Don't dispose or throw garbage into the drainage. It will block when it rains. Flooding will start. When flooding starts, we're not going anywhere, and the chaos begins all over again. And finally, like I said earlier on, don't drive against traffic. Don't make illegal U-turns. Watch your speed. Overspeeding on that road is bad. Straddling the single central line marking is bad. Stay within your lane, and I'll advise you. If you do 50 kilometers on that road, I promise you, you will get to where you need to get to in the same time as opposed to doing 70 and then you force yourself to slow down to do 20. Just maintain 50 kilometers an hour. I promise you, you will stick to your lane. It doesn't matter how bendy it is. There's so many bends all over the place. 50 kilometers, I'm telling you, maximum speed. It is okay for you. You stay safe. You be safe. The infrastructure will be okay. And all of us will be back here to come and adjust amongst each other. Thank you.
What's your assessment of this project, seeing that you started it off and you are at this stage, it's complete and it's beautiful? What's your assessment?
My assessment is that it's marvelous. It's very good. You can see a good road network being a replica of a good network from Dubai being replicated in Nigeria and also in Lagos, one of the state of excellence. This is a very good road, and by the time is opened, commissioned, people living from Ikorodu and coming all over will enjoy this road. And we thank God. We thank His Excellency. We thank the people of Lagos State for allowing this to happen.
Okay, you've been part of this project from start to finish, and this is what we have here, a very beautiful road with road furniture and everything. How do you feel about it? What is your assessment?
Well, we feel that we have gone a long way towards fulfilling the purpose for which we started the project. And we're reasonably satisfied with what we have done so far. But there's still some work to be done, because until we see the buses running up and down, we wouldn't have done our work. So there's still some things to do to ensure that we're actually moving people from one spot to the other. What you are seeing so far, I think, is the first stage of the work to make sure we have road space available for normal general traffic to use. Our next attention, or we now be focusing our attention on bus operations in the next few weeks.
Here is presenting to you the newly expanded and rehabilitated Mile 12 to Ikorodu Bus Rapid Transit BRT Extension Project with 6 pedestrian bridges, 15 bus shelters, beautiful road, beautiful scenery, flowers, street lighting, a huge bus depot garage, a modern market. This is awesome. This road has been delivered to you and is meant to be used by the living and not the dead. I am Kate Harmony.
As we said last time on the show, the successes of LAMATA to keep Lagos moving under the watch of Governor Babatunde Fashola are too much to mention in one episode. Next episode, we still have more to bring you. In the meantime, stay tuned.
The questions, comments, and remarks you send to us via text messages, emails, and social media help us keep working round the clock to serve you best. Here is one of the questions or comments you sent to us via our social media page. This one is from Neroy Javier, and he says, please ensure the aim of establishing this agency is not defeated. Institute a strategy to ensure the buses are properly cleaned, and the drivers should avoid overloading the buses. Thank you so much, Javier, for your comments. We assure you that LAMATA is working with the operator to ensure that the buses are cleaned all the time. You too can keep sending your questions, comments, and remarks to us on any of our following contacts. We are not done reviewing the successes and progress LAMATA has achieved under BRF. Next week, we take a look at roads. In the meantime, obey all traffic rules as you move across the city. They are there to protect you, and we care so much about you to let anything happen to you.
Because we practice what Carson McCullers famously said, better than being cared for is caring for someone else. Here at LAMATA, you are the reason we are great at what we do. Thank you for joining us on this episode. See you, same time, same station, next week. LAMATA. Keeping Lagos moving.
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.